Hey, folks, people, Monday evening. What's up? Ooh, dropping stuff on here. What's going on? How would you like to know what to do? You know, a lot of you probably don't do a lot of things because you think you don't have results in your business. You don't think you can do the marketing stuff or talk about certain things because you don't have big results. Well, there's an article that's going to explain why that doesn't matter. Let's go take a look at this right now. Okay. It says how to attract customers even when you don't have big results. It's not about having big results when you're attracting people. It's just about attracting people because of who you are. Okay. So you're about to discover one of the biggest mistakes most entrepreneurs make when it comes to attracting big time clients. More importantly, we're going to share some specific pitfalls to avoid when it comes to avoiding the deadly mistakes. And people do make mistakes. We all make mistakes. That's part of learning, business, and everything. Now, when I talk about big clients, I'm talking about type of customers who truly want in your business. You know, people who are interested in any services that you have to offer, whatever. Okay, not no tire kickers, not no lookies. We're talking about people who are either use your service or going to buy. And by the way, this is something that even the big dogs have a tendency to stumble over. It says, watch the video, listen to the audio below to learn about. Okay, here's a video. It says how to attract customers when you don't even have big results. I'm not sure who this is, but let's just listen to this video, see what they got to say.
Hey, what's up, my friends? JT DeBold is with you today for the Elite Marketing Pro Daily Dose of Awesome. Great to be with you on a Tuesday morning. And today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make when it comes to attracting big-time clients. And really, when I talk about big-time clients, I'm talking about the type of customer they truly want in their business. And then, of course, once they've got that customer, how to take great care of them. I'm going to be talking about one of the single biggest mistakes they make. And more importantly, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 specific pitfalls to avoid when it comes to avoiding this particular mistake. And by the way, this is something that even the big dogs have a tendency to stumble over. This is a mistake that a lot of people make, whether you're brand new at the business or whether you've been around the block for a few times. I'm telling you, this is applicable to Friday. At 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, it is always a privilege and an honor, and I got to tell you, so stoked to be back with you on the Daily Dose. Awesome to be with you on a Tuesday. I'm going to teach you guys a few things. If you guys have ever been to one of our fast track workshops, either as an elevation member or an acceleration member, you may have seen me talk about this in the past because it's extremely important, but it's something that I want to start sharing a little bit more with all of you so that you understand. One of the things that we talk about a lot of times and some of the concerns that are brought up to me by entrepreneurs, especially folks that are starting off, they're brand new, or perhaps they're breaking into a new field, something that they're unfamiliar with, is their lack of results. The concern is, how am I going to attract customers when I haven't gotten any results? And more specifically, how am I going to attract the real big dogs? How am I going to attract the heavy hitters? And what's interesting is this particular industry, whether you see it as the home-based industry or something more specific like the network marketing industry, a lot of times we look at folks that have these big downlines, right? We see the people that walk across the stage. We see them getting recognized. We see them hitting those big marks, rank advancing, so on and so forth. And it's very easy to think, well, that's them. That's not me. And someday I will be successful when. And this is one of the things that we talk about in the workshops is success is not defined by when you get results. Okay? The result itself is simply a metric. It's simply an indication of effective action, effective planning, effective strategy, and then the execution of that planning and the execution of that strategy. That's it. That's all results are. The results are specifically not indicative of your life. They're not indicative of your quality. They're not even indicative of you. But so often people have this tendency to believe that, well, results are me. My results are me, or my lack of results are me. If this ever sounds familiar, if you know somebody, I'm not saying it has to be you, but if you know people that operate like this, then if it is you, have the courage to admit it. Give me a 1 in the chat box. Give me a 1 in the chat box if you've ever had that feeling. Like, listen, I don't have the results, the big results yet, and therefore, who's going to follow me? I don't have the big results to share, so who would want to join me? If you've ever had this thought process or experienced it from other people, give me a 1 in the chat box. All right, I see lots of people out there saying yes or saying 1 to that. And hey, man, I got to tell you, it's really cool for you to admit that. And if, by the way, you know people, maybe you've got people in your organization, people in your team that I want you to pay close attention, because this message will work for them as well. And if you're the person delivering the message, aren't you going to look like an amazing leader? And of course you will, because you are. And that's really the whole point here. When we workshops, and this is something that I've kind of put together, I call it the success cycle. And this is really the way things kind of go. And if you've seen this before, then you know, follow along with me. If you've never seen this before, then take careful notes on this, okay? Everything really begins with our belief systems, all right? So I'll give you a great example. If your belief system around money is, hey, wealthy people are greedy, or making money in business is hard, then it's going to really start to drive everything you do in terms of performance in your business or your life. Some people say, well, I'm not a morning person. Well, guess what? If they have to get up early to catch a flight, then naturally they're going to approach that situation from a place of not necessarily being optimized, right? They're going to say, well, I'm not a morning person, therefore when they get up early in the morning, they're probably going to feel awful. They're going to move slow. Their brain's not going to be as sharp, and they probably will not approach that situation with too much enthusiasm. See where I'm going with this? If somebody also has a belief system that says, hey, business is hard, or in the past I have failed, so therefore in the future I probably will fail as well, all of a sudden they're setting themselves up for a very rough go. So it all begins with our beliefs. Well, our beliefs actually drive our thoughts, because if we're believing that something's hard, then we're thinking it's going to be hard. And of course, our thoughts drive our words. Now, what's interesting is we have amazing people in this community, and one person I want to give a shout out to is we were just in the workshops, and I had this awesome woman, Dawn. She came up and she said, listen, man, you know, the way you approach thoughts and words and things like that is really powerful, because what I said is the eyes are not the window to the soul, words are, all right? And the purpose behind me saying that is because when you are thinking a certain thought, sometimes you hold it within yourself, right? But if all of a sudden you speak the words, if I said, hey, how's business going? You go, hey, man, business is awesome. I can tell a lot about what you're thinking. Even if right now business isn't going great for you, if the words that come out of your mouth say business is awesome, that means you're thinking optimistically. That means you're thinking about the possibility of what's coming next. And that probably means that you have a strong belief system in and around your business and in and around yourself. So you can see that these things really do relate to one another. Beliefs lead to thoughts, thoughts lead to words. Now you might be thinking to yourself, JT, how do words actually impact our performance? I was just telling this story last weekend how when my kids were little, we actually tried this out. I remember reading this study. It was done by a performance psychologist in the UK. And what they did is they put athletes through tests, and they actually used positive or negative reinforcement as athletes were doing their workouts. Sometimes it was an Olympic lift, like squats or deadlift or something like that. Sometimes it was running hurdles. Sometimes it was doing things, seeing how high they could jump and tap a marker on a wall, for instance. And so they tried 2 tests. They tried it once with positive reinforcement, meaning, hey, you got this, you can do this, jump higher, you're such a strong person, man, you're fast, man, you're strong, man, you're tall, or whatever they would say, and it would give that person that positive reinforcement. On another test, they would ask the exact same athletes to do something, either a similar strength exercise or performance exercise, and they would tell them how awful they were, and how they weren't working hard enough, and how they were slow, and how they were sluggish, and how they were heavy, and all these things. And they could actually see a dramatic drop in their performance. So I tried this with my own kids. We set up this little obstacle course in our house one day, and we tried it. And the very first time we did it, we gave our kids just a baseline performance. We just wanted to see how fast they would go. Then we gave them a chance to rest, and I tried something. I tweaked the experiment just a little bit differently. And I started it with my daughter, and I said, and when she ran the first go, she ran as hard as she could go. She's very competitive, just like me. And so she ran as hard as she could go. And on that first run, when she was fresh, that's when I gave the negative reinforcement. I gave the negative reinforcement. I'm like, you're not trying hard enough. You're not going fast enough. Is that the best you got? And I was saying things like that. And I could tell that it was actually having an impact on her. Well, when she got done with the race, she was breathing really heavy, and she had gone through this little obstacle course we had built in the house. And she's breathing really heavy. And I said, okay, get up to the starting line. And she's like, I'm not ready yet. I said, I know, just take a deep breath and get going. And right before she got there, right before she took off, I put my arm around her shoulder and I said, listen, I really believe in you. You're amazing. I know you're going to do great at this. You are going to crush this. Now go out, give it your all, and show me what you got. Show me that Callie DeBolt that I know and love. And so I stopped. I started the time. She took off. She ran, and she blew her time away. In fact, she was faster when she was tired, even than her baseline speed, simply because the words were reinforcing the actions. Now, if this makes sense, if you're saying, hey, dude, I totally follow all of this so far, give me a 2 in the chat box. I want to see the 2s coming out here. And just like Jennifer Stover King says, words are so powerful. They're more powerful than you probably realize. And by the way, we're not just talking about the spoken word. We're also talking about the words we think, that internal dialogue, that internal talk that we give ourselves in any given moment, any given day. All right, I see lots of people dialing 2s in here. It's great. Wait, I got to see this comment. Lisa Smith Williams just said, my 9-year-old hates to write, so I print up worksheets that say I'm a great writer. I love to write. Writing is easy for me. And she says it works. It absolutely does. Now, here's something interesting, and we were talking about this at the workshop. Is one of our students, Emily, came up and she goes, "Hey, listen, what do you think about affirmations?" Affirmations can sometimes come off as a little bit woo-woo, and most people who know me, I'm not a woo-woo kind of guy. I will say this: that if it's an action-based word, right? So in other words, if I sit there and say I'm awesome, that's one thing. But if I say something that says every day I show up and do the work of a top earner, right? I am a natural leader, and every single day I set the example through my thoughts, actions, and words. In other words, if it's an action-based, sort of word that you're using, or an action-based affirmation, then it will have power. But if we simply say, I am something, I'm a 6-figure earner, I'm a 6-figure earner, and we're saying that over and over again, it's possible that those words will reinforce a thought of doubt. So we have to be careful. Because if we don't yet have the result and we're trying to force ourselves to believe that, then guess what? It could reinforce that negative belief pattern. So the best way to hotwire that and shortchange it is to come to the words and make them action-based. So anytime you use words about yourself, use action-based words. And it's okay to say, hey, I'm working on becoming a better writer. I'm working on being the best copywriter possible. I am working each day to make that winning ad. When you do that, you start to have reinforced actions based on words that are specifically driven toward and reinforcing action.
We're talking about some people think you have to be 7 figures to get the right clients. And sometimes the big clients ain't the ones for you anyway. Sometimes it's the little clients that can turn you into big money. We always talk about we need the big clients, big clients, whatever that is. Sometimes that's not good for you or your business. That's going to determine who you are, how you view yourself. Maybe you're not ready for that. Okay. Maybe it's something that's going to come down the line. You got to crawl before you walk, and you got to do the work. Yeah, the mindset has to be developed there first, but don't get it twisted, people. There are some people I know personally that believe in what they're doing, but they're not getting the results. Sometimes your actions going to have to change about what you want done. Maybe you're not, there's something left out. Maybe you need to be going over here instead of over here. Okay. You can't keep doing certain things that are not getting results. This is what's wrong with marketing today. When the demographics change and they're still holding on to old ideologies, then people need to evaluate. You need to reevaluate what's going on and say, okay, this is what I need to do, because those ideologies do not work. People don't like the rah-rah. They don't like the woo-woo. They want straight up results. I don't care what you're saying. People don't stay around if they don't get certain results. Now, I'm not saying they should think they're going to get results overnight. I'm talking about a certain amount of time. And usually in network marketing, if you don't get some kind of results or into some kind of profit, I'm not talking about millions, within 60 to 90 days, people are out. That's the climate we live in, like it or not. Okay, that is the climate we live in. Okay, so if you have value from this, let me go back here and say, if you got value from what we were saying here, let me go back and see what else this thing has to say about getting results. Yes, this is all begins with a belief. But like I said, there's a lot of people who do believe, okay? Belief without action or the right action is worthless, okay? You have to have the right action towards it, because you can believe all you want. If it's not geared toward the right actions, it don't mean nothing. It has to be geared toward the right actions, okay? It doesn't matter what it is, in business, losing weight, whatever. Beliefs lead to thoughts, and thoughts lead to words. Beliefs do lead to thoughts, but if the thoughts come from knowing that you're going in the right direction, you have to know where you're going first. Okay, your actions are gonna generate the beliefs, and if the beliefs are not geared toward that right, they're not gonna go nowhere. You can believe all the hell you want to believe. Okay, that's why you got to know what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish. Then the thought patterns will lead to the right words. Okay, but if you don't know those, all this don't mean nothing. So I tried this with her kids. Okay. Some kids it works, and it depends. Okay. Yes, words are powerful. They're powerful. They're very powerful. Words sometimes can form a reality. Okay, but words have to be detailed to communicate what you're saying too, because the wrong infraction, the wrong this can be a miscommunication. Believe me, I know, been there. Okay, and I'm not trying to knock anything with what this guy is saying, but there's some details that need to be affirmative. And I'm saying just from my experience, it's the affirmation sometimes can be a little, a lot of things in direct sales and network marketing can be a little woo-woo. Because sometimes they want to keep people in this business and they want to give them so-called hope instead of reality of what it's going to take to make something work. And it takes action, it takes work, and it takes the right action and the right work in the right areas. Okay, that's what it takes. If it's not towards that, it ain't happening. Okay, let me stop here. With that being said, I hope you got a little value from this thing. I guess the president's on now. Hope you got value from this. It's getting dark on here. Let me get off of here. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday night. Take care, and we'll see you on the next video.